have a really good grip on, or they have at least had going into this tournament, in fights with assessing whether they can squeeze in that extra kill or whether they need to back out. And with Bounty Hunter on Evil Genius's side, they have a pretty good shot at getting these, say, 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 trades. And in addition to that, Bounty Hunter and Queen of Pain just great synergy overall. And one more thing is, when Empire plays Shaker, it's generally in the off lane, so the chance that he will be mid to protect the Shadow Fiend in this game already is lower, which means that AUI 2000 and, of course, Sumail on the Queen of Pain, most likely, could also be Fear, will be able to dominate this lane.
It's also pretty good versus Wisp, which they have turned to a couple of times already in this tournament. Not too much success with it, but they do love their Wisp timing.
We've seen quite a few Wisp tinies actually this tournament so far.
Yeah, definitely.
And people don't seem to be too prioritizing it in terms of bans. It just happens and people deal with it.
Enjoying
Likes you, Ben.
Bursting down
Hand over.
Unfortunately, there's not a camera, so it sounds really creepy.
He's a very suitable hero
Yeah, I was about to say, I
Sumail.
don't know if that's the quote we want to go.
Shiver just said something like, he likes you, Ben.
Now, looking at
Ben got his Ursa.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just to clarify.
It's narrated like a radio show. What's going on?
Some of the other people that didn't know thought he was a beaver.
A beaver?
A mutated beaver. A Dotified beaver.
Yeah, but if you look at it from the side or the front, he does look quite like a beaver at certain angles, so I can't blame them for that one.
Hey, we all call him a bear in game, but what if he actually is a mutated beaver?
Maybe, maybe he's just misunderstood.
He doesn't have the tail.
That's the mutated part.
Yeah, it's not the fangs. It's just the mutated tail. Looking at the bans for Empire, though, I want to bring up the question. Now, do you think Wyvern is going to be something that EG's looking for here?
As a ban?
No, as a pick afterwards, yeah.
I don't think so. I think Shadow Fiend's actually pretty good versus it. And I mean, obviously it depends on the picks, but you need physical damage for it. You need to be playing against physical damage for it to be useful. And right now they have a pretty heavy spellcaster lineup. And yes, Sumail does play very aggressively, but I think there are way better heroes. Like I think like Omni Knight, for example, with Repel is much better versus spellcasters.
Perhaps the ban even in this one?
Yeah.
And it's good to see a team banning Treant against EG. I'm not sure if this is the first team to do it. It might be the second, but generally it's been led through. And Empire realize how much EG get out of this. And it's a really interesting idea to try to run Treant and Bounty together. In a way, it could be greedy because it's double melee support, but it just allows you so much freedom when it comes to dominating lanes. Not only do you have the roaming Bounty, your mid laner and your off laner also get the benefit of living armor. So you can like really start diving towers super early and go for those kind of plays. So I like it a lot. They're also going to ban the TA of Sumail just in case it's a safe lane co-op to ensure that Resolution probably doesn't get outmatched as hard in the mid lane as they transition into a Storm pick, which I actually think is going to be safe lane for not the first time this tournament, but it's like 80-90% mid. This time it's probably safe.
Now, do you think that's also partly maybe to take it away from each at the same time?
It could be.
Of course, Sumail just finished that game 9-1-3.
It definitely could be.
I really like that opens up, like, if you're going to assume that Earthshaker is off lane and Shadowfiend mid, Storm Spirit safe lane, in theory, all three of those can do just fine by themselves, and therefore it opens up the two supports to be able to make a real big difference on the lane. For example, to help the Shadowfiend down in the mid lane, and to maybe hunt down the Bounty Hunter as well. Just be a bit more aggressive than they normally would be.
I would actually, in this game, like to see Empire not offlane the Shaker.
Okay.
Because I think Spirit Breaker is just that good of a pick here that we've seen a couple of teams use. Oh, maybe it's been the same team both times. It might only have been EG, but I think another team than EG did it. Counter to Bounty Hunter. You keep running him down. He's really good at ganking Queen of Pain in the mid lane. Who did it?
I.M.O.
Yeah, I.M.O. did it.
Good at running down the Queen of Pain in the mid lane, as you do get your Wyvern pick, by the way. Great call. It's good for that. It's good for ganking together with Storm Spirit, really opening up the map, and it even synergizes pretty well with Shadow Fiend. It's very easy to land multiple races, or even a good Requiem during the long lockdown on a single target that Spirit Breaker provides. So I would say it's a great pick. Whether they want to run it off lane or safe lane is then the question, but it's definitely got to be on their minds here that he is a very, very good pickup here. Alternatively, Rubik, Quap Blink, Track, all of Wyvern's spells.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Now, it's been a while. Always Want to Fly plays a pretty impressive Enigma.
That's true.
Is that an option here? They have, of course, got the interrupt from the Bounty Hunter now with the Shuriken Toss as well, but that's super short range. Winter Wyvern would have to use his ultimate if he wants to interrupt it so far.
It might just be too much of the same for Empire, or it. Not necessarily, actually, when you look at it. Like they have other stuff than just the wombo combo team fight, but it's probably going to give Bounty Hunter too much free reign. If you run Enigma in the jungle, Bounty Hunter can just run after Enigma and take half the experience. Their secondary support, being the Dazzle, actually can't really bully Bounty Hunter away that easily. You're mostly looking for supports that have like a really long duration stun or slow so that you can keep chasing him down. And Poison Touch is okay, but it's not good enough, I think. Now they will pick Anti-Mage here for EG, mainly to just deal with the Storm Spirit, it would seem. This also tells Empire that it is a mid lane quap, more than likely, so they can do with that what they want. I think Spirit Breaker just got even better. He is such a good pick here, in my opinion. They did go for Dazzle, a more defensive approach, which I don't think plays to Empire's strengths, really.
From what we've discussed, though, what I can tell is if Empire does go for the Spirit Breaker, I feel like they're looking a lot better already just from the draft. The fact that they're able to take advantage of that, notice that they're in that zone, to pick that out right away and that opportunity in the draft, whereas otherwise, it sounds like if they're still in kind of poor morale, they would just go with what they've always been doing, just go into that creature of habit mode as we often do.
It's good versus Bounty Hunter, but I think the Winter Wyvern is good versus Storm Spirit. A lot of physical damage from Dazzle, as well as preventing a Zerg down on this charge target, especially with Anti-Mage. Like, Anti-Mage doesn't even need a Glimmer Cape plus Golden Brace combo because they already have Spell Shield. So it's decent, but I already think they have a pretty good lineup to play against it. I would like it, though. I think that it's more the style that they need, just disrupt EG early and pressure the Anti-Mage. And the Quap, of course.
I mean, teamfights is one thing where when you get to the mid-late game where they start structuring it and they can keep protecting their anti-mage, but when you look at the laning stage, Wyvern can't be everywhere at once. And PBD has generally been really good at playing his Wyvern in lane, but most likely AM will actually need the help. That's the thing. Like, it's difficult for Wyvern to constantly move around. Let's say you play Dazzle Shaker off lane, actually. That could be totally doable here for Team Empire, and then just roam the Spirit Breaker, safe lane Storm, mid lane the Shadow Fiend. Then PBD kind of needs to stay in that top lane and protect Fear. So if they get that idea and put that lane setup, I would actually like their strat. This is a very similar idea, albeit with a different pick. So I'm also on board with this. I'm also very biased toward Night Stalker. I really like the hero. So I'm very happy we see this. Crippling Fear against Anti-Mage and Quap is great. He's a tanky hero in the mid lane, in the mid game rather, really able to run down heroes and take the fight to them. The downside is Night Stalker has really good night vision, and when you track a target, you get their vision.
Oh, yeah.
So if he goes for an Aghanim Scepter, Bounty Hunter is an innate counter hero. You just track the Night Stalker and you see everything. So it's a gimmicky play, kind of, but it could
Still
play.
Something to definitely watch out for and take into account. Then EG, so what are they missing? I mean, only 15 seconds left, and this seems to be happening to EG quite a bit.
I think they lack a little bit of protection for Anti-Mage. I think that Anti-Mage Wyvern is just very, very weak. I mean, I guess they're out of support picks at the present moment, but...
Can they not put Bounty Hunter on the...
Oh, okay, they aren't.
Oh, they're actually going to go for it.
I was not expecting that, but I would say credit somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you did bring up the Enigma, you brought it on the board. We'll definitely give it to you.
And it's actually jungling. I thought this was going to go off lane and that they would then put the dual support of Bounty Hunter and Wyvern to roam / protect.
So how much does this change things, Ben? The Enigma coming into play and jungling for EG?
It doesn't, like, they don't have that many killers with Bounty Hunter, right? It's Winter Wyvern's a defensive hero, Anti-Mage is a farmer, and Enigma is also a farmer. So in that sort of sense, it doesn't work out too well. I think the Bounty Hunter has to do a good job of providing vision, and if Empire gets a gem really early, then everything could fall apart for Evil Geniuses. So I think they're on the slippery slope where, as usual, they want to dodge fights and outlate game their opponent, but I think it's going to be very, very difficult with Storm Spirit's jump, with Earthshaker's lockdown, and with the extra vision from Night Stalker. I think they watched the eHome game, and they were like, wow, this Luna night vision, it's a big deal. It's hard to see from a casting perspective just because you're
used to seeing
everything, right? But when if you have it on one side's perspective the whole time, the whole map is dark, and it's scary, and you have to play way differently.
Yeah, very good point. And, of course, Game 1 about to start between these two teams. Do you think that Enigma pick was affected by the Night Stalker coming out?
Yes and no, because I think the alternative heroes that Empire might have considered could have triggered the same reaction. I think the most important thing for EG for going for this pick is that they see that Empire don't have really good roaming support duo early to put so much pressure that they can't afford to run an Enigma jungle. One of them is a defensive support in the Dazzle, and they knew that one was there. The Night Stalker doesn't do that much generally until the first night, so at least you have 4 minutes that are pretty free for the Enigma. Maybe he can get up a level 5 and start making some counterplays.
And they have a bounty hunter to worry about.
And they have bounty hunter.
They can't concentrate on Enigma and play defensively against
Exactly.
bounty hunter at the same time.
But all in all, I think this is a really solid draft from Empire. I actually think their draft fares well against EG. So if this was going right into the tournament, if we had just started now,
Right.
I would favor Empire. But I'm still skeptical because they haven't been providing the results. But at the very least, they've given themselves a really good foundation to try to get the first game on.
Mm-hmm. Shiva and Ben, I mean, what about you guys? You guys are both not into that prediction.
I think they're very confident in what they picked. It's very to their own style, and at the same time, they managed to, in my opinion, have a bit more of a solid draft than EG. EG definitely a solid draft as well, but I think they don't play with it as much, and I think EG is just very close to home, and at the same time, just working to their strengths and able to. I think they should be able to, in the early game, outlane EG, and therefore build up on that, end up the game in a win.
Yeah, I like Empire's draft. It fits more their style, and I think EG's is super greedy, not even just a little bit greedy, with the Enigma and the Anti-Mage. And I think if they can somehow punish their offlane with like a Dazzle plus NS, I think they can take a game off.
And generally, playing super greedy against Night Stalker Storm is not good. So, if there's a team that can pull it off, though, it would be EG, though, who tend to be very, very good at, like you said, dodging fights and trying to just delay the game. But even then, if it just turns into a raw farming game, let's say everyone just farms really well, you have an AM and Quab as the two main cores on EG against Storm, Shadow Fiend. But the wild card is the Night Stalker support, who in a farming game can actually get quite a lot of items and become a physical carry himself. And then, I guess, on that account, shouldn't disregard Enigma as well as a potential core. But with the slower jungle farming, the jungle just generally gives less. I think Enigma, if you look at if it's just a farm game, I think Enigma farms like 15 to 20% slower, actually. It's really surprising how big a deal it is. But let's say the creeps